Eating when not hungry is one of the most widespread and underestimated contributors to long-term weight gain, metabolic decline, and emotional dysregulation. What makes this behavior especially troubling is that it affects people at every stage of life, but for different reasons and with different consequences. From adolescents to older adults, the triggers that drive non-hunger eating, stress, boredom, emotional discomfort, habit, and the lure of highly palatable foods grow stronger over time while the body's natural appetite controls grow weaker. This combination creates a gradual but powerful drift away from true hunger-based eating, leading to overeating, metabolic strain, and a distorted relationship with food that becomes increasingly difficult to reverse with age. In adolescence, eating without hunger is heavily shaped by emotional volatility and an immature reward system. Teenagers experience intense hormonal swings that heighten mood fluctuations, making food, especially sweet and salty ultra-processed snacks, a quick and tempting source of relief. Their dopamine pathways are hypersensitive, responding strongly to the pleasure of these foods even when the stomach is not demanding fuel. Stress from school, social pressures, and digital overstimulation further encourages hedonic eating. Teens reach for chips, instant noodles, sugary drinks, and packaged sweets simply because the brain craves stimulation. Boredom, too, is a major trigger at this age. Because adolescents often struggle with delayed gratification and self-regulation, they may eat just to escape restlessness or emotional discomfort. The danger here is foundational. Eating without hunger becomes a learned coping mechanism early in life, establishing neural pathways that link food to mood regulation instead of energy needs. This pattern, if not disrupted, can follow them into adulthood with damaging long-term consequences. Among young adults, non-hunger eating becomes more deeply tied to lifestyle stress and chaotic routines. College pressure, long work hours, sleep deprivation, and constant digital engagement create chronic mental fatigue that weakens self-control. Eating becomes a form of self-soothing, a reward after a long day, or a background behavior during screen use, often occurring without any conscious awareness of true hunger. Many young adults eat in response to emotional triggers like loneliness, burnout, anxiety, or frustration, confusing temporary emotional relief for actual appetite. This stage is particularly dangerous because these individuals often believe they can get away with it due to youthful metabolism, not realizing that repeated non-hunger eating alters hunger hormones, reinforces compulsive eating habits, and quietly adds body fat even before noticeable weight gain appears. The habit becomes normalized, eating while scrolling, snacking during work, late-night eating during stress, all separated from biological hunger. Over time, the brain begins to treat food as a default response to any emotional or sensory discomfort, weakening true satiety cues. In middle-aged adults, the triggers intensify, while the body's ability to handle overeating declines sharply. Stress peaks during this life stage as careers, family responsibilities, financial pressures, and chronic fatigue converge. Food, especially calorie-dense, ultra-processed options, becomes one of the fastest available coping mechanisms. Many adults lose the ability to distinguish real hunger from emotional noise, leading them to eat during stress, after conflict, during boredom, or simply out of habit. Physiologically, hormonal changes make things worse. Insulin sensitivity drops, cortisol rises more easily, and the metabolism slows. This means that non-hunger eating leads to faster weight gain and more severe metabolic consequences than it did in earlier years. Emotional eating becomes more entrenched, portion sizes gradually increase, and satiety signals become blunted. Adults may not consciously recognize the behavior until weight, cholesterol, or blood sugar numbers become concerning. In older adults, eating without hunger can become both deeply habitual and physiologically destabilizing. The aging brain experiences reduced dopamine sensitivity, making stimulating foods more attractive simply because natural rewards feel muted. Loneliness, depression, and loss of daily structure can trigger grazing behaviors, where older adults eat out of emptiness, not physical, but emotional. At the same time, aging blunts hunger and fullness hormones, making it harder to sense when the body truly needs food. Many seniors eat because of routine, sensory appeal, or emotional comfort rather than genuine appetite. Unfortunately, the metabolic consequences are harsher at this age. Overeating accelerates insulin resistance, increases visceral fat, and worsens inflammation, all while the body's ability to repair damage diminishes. Eating without hunger contributes directly to faster biological aging, reduced mobility, cognitive decline, and greater risk of chronic disease. Across all ages, the underlying danger of non-hunger eating is how it slowly corrupts the body's natural regulation of appetite. The more often people eat for reasons other than hunger, the less responsive their bodies become to internal cues. Satiety hormones fail to function properly, cravings strengthen, emotional triggers gain more control, and the brain rewires itself around food as a universal solution to discomfort. This shift is subtle at first, but over the years, it becomes a powerful driver of overweight, obesity, metabolic syndrome, and emotional dependence on food. Eating when not hungry isn't just a harmless habit, it is a progressive behavioral and physiological disruption that grows more damaging with age. For adolescents, it shapes lifelong patterns. For young adults, it deepens stress-driven reward loops. For middle-aged adults, it accelerates metabolic decline. And for seniors, it pushes the body into inflammation, frailty, and chronic illness. Without conscious intervention, the separation between emotional need and physical hunger widens, trapping individuals in a cycle that undermines both physical health and psychological resilience.